Welcome to your second stimulus check update. Today we'll be talking during this premiere a lot of possibilities of why you didn't get your stimulus check and what's going on. A lot of good information during this video here. Put a lot of work into it, so if you could watch it, if you need to watch it, to find out where your stimulus check is or what's going on with your stimulus check and what you need to do. There's a lot of helpful information here. But before we get into this, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and ring the bell and share it out, and make sure and hit the like button. Hit the like button, and all comments are welcome. Leave a comment if you received your stimulus or if you didn't receive your stimulus check yet. Like I said, hopefully there's some information in there that'll help you. A whole lot of different scenarios here, what's going on with your stimulus check and what's going on. They got some of them straightened out, as we'll get into right now. Stimulus checks. TurboTax begins depositing economic impact payments for millions of customers after an IRS error. There was a lot of folks that filed their taxes through TurboTax and then had their tax preparation fees took out of their refund. Well, when you do that, that tax place goes through a different banking system and they send the refunds to you. IRS only sends straight to you. So they had to go through and get that all straightened out. Some folks received TurboTax that didn't pay for the tax preparer. They had the free TurboTax. They got their checks right away. Millions of TurboTax and H&R Block customers say their stimulus checks were deposited in the wrong bank accounts this week, forcing many of them to wait longer for the badly needed aid after struggling financially during this pandemic that we're having. This is as of Friday here, January 8th. Some have reported that the money has started to hit their bank accounts after this snafu that was going on. That's great news for the American people. But some TurboTax and H&R Block customers were surprised to see the last 4 digits of their bank account numbers were incorrect when they checked their payment status on the IRS website. Still waiting for a $600 stimulus check? Don't panic. Here's what you need to know. Everything you need to know, most of everything of what you need to know, is in this video. Millions of second stimulus checks are being deployed to help Americans who are struggling amidst the coronavirus pandemic. This time the checks will be up to $600 per individual or $1,200 per married couple, plus $600 per child under the age of 17. Those who have their direct deposit information already on file with the IRS will get their money first. A lot of folks already received theirs a while ago last week. A lot of folks are still waiting. Millions of people are still waiting due to this mess up here with the routing numbers and everything. A lot of folks are getting their money today from TurboTax. If you do not receive your check in early January, the agency advises you to watch your mail for either a paper check or a debit card that would come loaded with your stimulus check on it. Still, some people may be worried that they have been overlooked and want to do something about it. Like I said, there's a lot of helpful information throughout this video. If you're having a problem receiving your $600 stimulus check, go ahead and watch it all the way through, and it should be an answer to the issues that you are having with your stimulus $600 rebate. For starters, check to make sure you still meet the requirements for the stimulus money. You have to check those, make sure you have the requirements, and here the requirements are. The income threshold for the checks have stayed the same. So if you read this here, you can see if you qualify. So individuals with adjusted gross income of up to $75,000 or couples with $150,000 are eligible for full payments. Again, folks, I appreciate all of you stopping by here. If you can make sure and give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it out. The checks gradually phase out for the income above those levels, but this time those caps are lower. Individuals with $87,000 in income and married couples with $174,000 will not receive any payments. In contrast, the first payments phase out completely at $99,000 in income for individuals and $198,000 for couples. So if you meet these qualifications here, you should get a stimulus check. If you don't, you won't get one. There's an answer to one of the problems that some folks might be having. So if you received a reduced payment last time, you may not get money this time around. So they're saying you may not get some. It didn't say reduced, said you may not get some. You can go to the IRS website and check to see the status of your stimulus check. The new $600 checks are based on your 2019 tax returns, while the first round of checks were based on either 2018 or 2019 filings. So if you received a first stimulus check based on your 2018 return and your income went up in 2019, you could see a reduced or no stimulus payments. Many eligibility restrictions have stayed the same. For example, if you are an adult who has been claimed as a dependent, you will not receive a check. So if somebody claimed you as a dependent on their tax return, you cannot receive a stimulus check because they already claimed you. So if you've had that happen, I wouldn't expect you to get a stimulus check, folks. If you are concerned about receiving your cash, the IRS is urging you to file your 2020 tax return as soon as possible, at which point you will receive a credit for the money, the stimulus money. They will give you credit. They want you to hurry up and file it. The IRS generally won't start accepting returns until later this month. People who have changed their address or bank accounts, you have to listen to this one really carefully, since receiving their first stimulus check, should plan to claim the credit when they file their taxes this spring, because IRS cannot issue those payments because you've changed your address. They have no way to mail you it. They have no way to send you the preloaded debit card. If you change your bank account, you cannot get a direct deposit because they don't have your correct banking information. So you have to take that in consideration. And like I said, go onto the IRS website and see and sit back and think how you received your last stimulus check. People who typically do not submit tax returns should also plan to file an order to get their money, unless they already provided that information to the government last year. So you have to make sure if you haven't filed before, they don't have no record how to get you this stimulus money. I appreciate all the comments here. That's why I put this video together, is to answer most of folks' comments have left. They're trying to figure out where their stimulus money went. As you can see, there's a lot of scenarios where it could have went. If you have a question you want me to answer, please leave a comment. If you've received your stimulus check or not, please leave a comment. Those who receive federal support through Social Security, railroad retirement, or veterans benefits generally should get the money automatically. If they do not, they also are urged to file a tax return this year. There's more time you have to wait, folks. For some folks, 8 months waiting for this small stimulus check. Now, got to wait even longer because of this mess up. The good news is the Biden administration says they're going to hurry up and quickly pass another stimulus check as soon as he gets into office. We'll see how that goes. The credit is calculated in the same way as the stimulus checks, but it's based on your 2020 income information. People who receive no stimulus check or a partial stimulus check can apply for the credit by filing Forms 1040, an individual tax return, or Form 1040 SR, a return for seniors. On the other hand, the Get My Payment tool, where individuals can check the status of their payment, is open. That again is the Get My Payment tool. Some people have complained that they are receiving a payment status not available message when they try to use that site. That notice will appear until your check is issued, according to the IRS. It does not necessarily mean that you are not eligible for the money. So again, you can see here it says that notice will appear until your check is issued. The IRS urges people using the tool to be patient. Just be calm, folks. I know we all need this money here, and a lot of us need it more than others. Just try to be patient. Getting upset really doesn't help. There is a limit to the number of times people can access Get My Payment each day. Because a lot of folks have tried a lot of times and they get locked out and they're wondering why. The agency states on its website, when people reach the maximum number of accesses, Get My Payments will inform them that they will need to check back the following day. While millions of Americans have already received their stimulus checks, here are potential reasons why you may not have received your money yet. Again, folks, if you have time, please go over and give this video a thumbs up and share it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and ring the bell and for future notifications. And all comments are welcome. Leave a comment if you received your check, or if you have not received your check, or anything that you may want me to try to help answer for you. Number one, paper checks and debit cards are still going out. The IRS is still in the process of sending out paper checks, as well as payments on the debit cards. These debit cards will come preloaded with your stimulus check, so you need to check your mail out there regularly if you haven't got yours yet for that or a paper check. Those who received a paper check or debit card during the first round of stimulus payments will likely receive their second payment the same way, unless they set up a direct deposit when filing a 2019 tax return. You can check the status of your payment by using the IRS online. Go online and go to Get My Payment tool. Number two, income. The other main reason you may not have seen a check is because of your income. The cutoff for even a reduced payment is $87,000. We're doing across this, but I'll do it again. And for a single person, $174,000 for a married couple. Change bank account or address. If you recently changed bank accounts or your home address, the IRS says there is no way to update your information this time before the payments are sent. The IRS says people who with new bank accounts will have to wait and claim their stimulus payment as a credit on their 2020 federal tax return. So if you got a new bank account and the IRS doesn't have your banking information, routing number, such and such, you're going to have to wait till you file your federal tax return, it looks like. Unprocessed 2019 tax return. Last month, the IRS reported more than 7.1 million 2019 tax returns that still have not been processed. So if you process your 2019 tax return, they don't have no clear banking information for you. Most of these were paper tax returns. While the IRS says it's quickly processing these returns, the second round of stimulus checks is based on your 2019 tax return. Well, folks, I hope some of this information helped you out some. If it has, please leave a comment below. If you need some answers to your questions, please leave a comment below. But anyways, folks, $2,000 stimulus checks could become a reality with the Democratic control of the Senate. Democrats vowed Wednesday to rush the $2,000 checks to Americans as quickly as possible as they clinch unified control of Washington, with the Senate wins in. The move would make good on promises President-elect Joe Biden made to Georgia voters in the final days of the runoff race, which ended Tuesday with Democrat Raphael Warnock beating Republican. Those Democratic victories flipped control of the Senate to the Democrats, giving them a monopoly on power in the nation's capital for the first time since Barack Obama's first term. I still think it should be like a Democrat, Republican between the House and Senate and the presidency instead of all three being Democrat or all three being Republican. That's just my opinion. One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is deliver the $2,000 checks to the American families, Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer said, who will become Majority Leader, told reporters on Wednesday. That would be good. Americans need that $2,000 stimulus, or whatever they're going to call it. This $600 didn't work out good, and a lot of folks got it. It don't pay hardly anything because bills are piled up so much. The $2,000 checks have become a flashpoint since President Trump embraced them in December, rejecting a lower figure negotiated by his own administration. The House approved the higher number, but the Senate rejected it. Biden wavered on the issue, but ended up explicitly promising Georgia voters that should Warnock and Ossoff win, people would get the checks. That would be nice. Folks need that $2,000. They could use all the help they could get. Their elections will put an end to the block in Washington that the $2,000 stimulus check, that the money would go out the door immediately to help people who are in real trouble, Biden said. In Georgia, in the closing days of the Senate campaigns, think about what it will mean to your lives, putting food on the table, paying rent. I have my own opinion on both the Democrats and the Republicans on both sides. They both were objected to giving folks more stimulus. And then at times, Pelosi wanted to give more. At times, the Republicans wanted to give more. It was just a shame Americans had to wait 8 months to get $600 and have it all. A lot of folks, millions of folks, not get theirs because of a mess up in the direct deposit system. It's unclear how quickly Congress could actually vote on the checks. That depends on when the elections in Georgia are certified, which could be delayed by the GOP challenges, making the timing uncertain. Additionally, it's not clear whether the House and the Senate would vote on the checks as a standalone legislation or as part of a larger package that could also include items like state and local aid. Extension of unemployment benefits. Congressional aides caution that discussion with the Biden team over how to proceed were in the early stages. Together in under 2 weeks, when we inaugurate the new Biden-Harris administration, a unified Democratic Party will advance extraordinary process for the people, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in a statement. We will pursue a science and value-based plan to crush the coronavirus and deliver relief to struggling families. Watch your mail for your stimulus debit card. The IRS says it is sending approximately 8 million. That's a whole lot of cards. Prepaid debit cards loaded with the second stimulus payment this week. Loaded with that $600. And if you're married or filed jointly, it's $1,200, and then for $600 for the dependents. So it should be coming in your mail. You got to check that, folks, and see. Watch your mail closely if you're getting it that way, or a paper check, which would be in a white envelope. The cards known as Economic Impact Payment, EIP cards, could go to anyone who didn't already receive a direct deposit payment, the agency said. The announcement comes after many people threw out cards they received for the first stimulus payment because they thought they were junk mail or scams. So check your mail and make sure you don't throw it away, because you have to follow the instructions. I don't know if they come preloaded. I guess they do come preloaded. And see how to activate it if they're not activated. So don't throw them away, folks. Been waiting too long for this. Been waiting 8 months to get this $600. Again, folks, if you can, please subscribe and ring the bell for future updates. Make sure and go over and smack the thumbs up. Hit that like button and share this video. And all comments are welcome. Please leave a comment if you receive your stimulus. direct deposit, or if you haven't, or if you received any of these cards here. The IRS and Treasury urge eligible people who don't receive a direct deposit to watch their mail carefully during this period, the IRS said. Not everyone who received a card for the first payment will receive a card for the second. They could receive a check instead, and some who receive a check the first time may receive a card this time, the agency said. Wow, if that ain't confusing, I'll have to read it again. Not everyone who received a card for the first payment will receive a card for the second. They could receive a check instead, and some who receive a check the first time may receive a card this time, the agency said. The cards are being sent in a white envelope that prominently displays the U.S. Department of Treasury seal, the IRS said. The card has the Visa name on the front and the issuing bank name, MetaBank, on the back of the card. Don't toss those away, folks. That's your stimulus check that you receive. So make sure and be on the lookout for those white envelopes in your mailbox out there. I wouldn't leave them in there too long. Get them out of your mail if you got a mailbox in your house, and get them in your house, and there's your stimulus check. Again, folks, I want to make sure that you guys can hit the like button for this video. It helps YouTube promote this channel. All of you, I want to give you a special thank you for all of you that subscribe to this channel, all of you that have been viewing all the videos, and all of you that have left the comments about getting your stimulus check or not getting it, and in general, and asking questions. I like the questions. If any of you have any questions you want me to answer them, please leave it in the comment below. I'll do my best to help you out. And if you got time, go back and look through my previous videos. I got one, it's a little lengthy, but it explains everything, where your stimulus check is if you didn't get it, how you got to go about getting it, or when you will get your stimulus check, if it's Social Security or direct deposit or this debit card. It explains it all if you can stop by and check it out. And a whole lot of other videos on the stimulus. Again, for January 8th evening. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and ring the bell for future updates. Make sure and give this video a thumbs up and share it out. All comments are welcome. Leave a comment if you received your stimulus, or if you haven't. TurboTax has issued a lot of refunds today and throughout the weekend here. They got their mess corrected there. And that had to do with the $600 stimulus check. We're going to go along through here toward the end of this video, we're going to talk about the thousands of dollars that Joe Biden wants to give in the third stimulus check and the third stimulus check package. So let's get started in this video. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting this channel and subscribing. And let's get into this and see if we can make some sense out of all this. President-elect Joe Biden on Friday called for increasing the most recent payments to $2,000 as part of the next coronavirus stimulus bill. That sounds great. The $600 just wasn't enough. As I mentioned toward the end of the video, here will be Joe Biden's talk on the third stimulus package and what it's all going to be about. And looks like if he could get that approved and passed, Americans would come out pretty good on this financially. We need more direct relief flowing to families and small businesses, including finishing the job and getting people's $2,000 in relief, Biden said in Delaware. $600 is simply not enough when you have to choose between paying rent or putting food on the table and keeping the lights on. Well, in California here, $600, you're not going to pay rent with that. Barely be able to keep the lights on. Because the base is so much higher than it is with $600 checks. A family of four, which would start with $8,000 in stimulus checks, this is what Biden said, would have to make $310,000 before the entire payment would end, according to calculations by a Center for Responsible Federal Budget. For a family of 5 children, the cutoff would be $430,000. Stimulus check updates. Biden to unveil coronavirus relief plan with a price tag likely in the trillions of dollars next week. I think he's talking about next Thursday. President-elect Joe Biden said he'll offer details of his first COVID-19 aid proposal next Thursday with a price tag likely in the trillions of dollars. He's going to set an example, I think, when he first comes in office, and let's see if he holds up to what he was saying during the elections, that he's going to give a stimulus check if he got elected. So we'll see. Again, folks, please subscribe and ring the bell, and make sure and give this video a thumbs up and share it out. Biden spoke Friday in Wilmington, Delaware, at an event to introduce prospective nominees to his cabinet. During a question and answer session with reporters, Biden said he'll be speaking to Democrat leaders on Friday afternoon about his. The president-elect has been hitting on a major relief package as his first priority out of the gate after his inauguration on January 20th. He ticked off a list of standbys from the previous aid proposals, including upping the recent enacted $1,600 rebate checks to $2,000 per person, expanded unemployment benefits, rental assistance, aid to states, localities, and tribal governments, including for school systems, police and fire departments, and money for vaccine distribution. We're going to be proposing an entire package that deal with the whole range of issues, Biden said. The price tag will be high. It will be in the trillions of dollars, the entire package. Adding another $1,400 to the direct payment household starting receiving, it is not clear what it would take to get GOP supporters Senator Jim Mnuchin on board. He also expressed some hesitation about the amount in an interview Friday, though he didn't immediately rule out ultimately supporting a broader package. $600 is simply not enough. You have to choose between paying rent, putting food on the table, or keeping the lights on, Biden said. $600 don't even buy groceries. Adding contingent items like state fiscal relief would complicate matters further, though Republicans have expressed openness if Democrats would accept a liability shield for employers so they can't be sued if customers or workers get sick, despite following the health. Biden also suggests that he will seek a federal minimum wage increase to $15 an hour, up from $7.25 an hour today, though that could be a separate proposal. Well, it'd be nice if Biden could come through with this stimulus money to help the American people out. I also hope that Democrats control the House and Senate will raise the odds of prompting action for increasing the minimum wage, Biden said. I know some of folks ain't Biden supporters or not. He is our president now. I'm neutral on this here. I'm just hoping the American people could get the money they need. It shouldn't take the House, the Senate, and the president all to be Democrat or all to be Republican just to get something passed for the American people. My opinion. No one should work, as millions are doing, 40 hours a week at a job and still live below the poverty line. Some people work 2 jobs and still live below the poverty line. Biden's remark came as he was introducing Rhode Island Governor Gino as he picked for Commerce Secretary, Boston Mayor Marty Walsh to lead the Labor Department, and Isabel Guzman to be Administrator of the Small Business Labor Department Administrations, along with Don Graves as Deputy Secretary of Commerce. Sanders is set to take the Senate Budget Committee gavel in the chamber. 50-50 scenario with Democrat Vice President-elect Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. We're going to expand health care to cover the uninsured, Sanders told news station. We're going to deal with student debt. We have to go be bold in a way that we have not since FDR in the 1930s. Sanders underscored his case in a tweet Friday, saying the loss of 140,000 jobs last month as millions go hungry and face evictions point for the need for sweeping legislation in the midst of this economic hardship among folks. The pandemic and a lot of seasonal workers stopped working last month. They need to get some money out besides this little $600 they gave out to people. That's just a small amount, very small amount they did. Congress must act boldly and aggressively, he tweeted, as the next Budget Committee chair. That's what I intend to do. Well, that looks like the plan of what Biden wants to accomplish. We'll see how that goes. What you plan out to do and what our politicians will pass is two different things that we've all found out within the last year, especially with this stimulus stuff going on 8 into the 9th month here, and people still haven't received their second stimulus check. That's just very hard to believe. And then with all this mess up with the IRS and the direct deposit information and tax companies, and it just goes on and on and on. The second stimulus package is one that you'd put in the books, and you learn by what not to do when you're trying to get money out to folks, because this was a disaster from the start, with politicians taking so much time just to get the $600 stimulus check out there, so much arguing for months and months and months, and then they have a big problem with the direct deposit. There's folks that still haven't received a check from the first stimulus check, stimulus package, or anything from the first stimulus package that they're going to have to file with their taxes here, let alone the second. During a pandemic, to take this much time to get things like that accomplished is something they need to work on and seriously get that changed. We'll see if they can hopefully get that done. As we learn in life, you've been around a while, you learn everything in life is a learning lesson. So you learn from this, you look at the mistakes and don't do it again. So a disaster happens like this here, they could be prepared. I know nobody was prepared for this mysterious flu that you can't see, this virus that was attacking people and killing people, scared people, put me on edge too when it first came out the first 2 or 3 weeks. It did, and then I actually didn't watch no news for like 2 months. I wouldn't even turn the TV on. It was nice and peaceful then because I didn't know what was going on, but because I knew there was nothing I could do about it. But again, folks, I want to thank you for stopping by and supporting this channel. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and ring the bell. Give this video a thumbs up and share it if you can. Please leave a comment if you received your stimulus check or if you haven't received your stimulus check. And again, take care and have a great weekend.